My name is Raphael Obonyo. I was born and brought up in Korogosho. This is Korogosho. Korogosho is the third largest slum in Nairobi. And we all know how life in the slum is: poverty and poverty-related problems. Many young people are not able to access opportunities. They are not able to access basic services, issues of healthcare, services are run down in terms of, infrastructure. And so this is where I grew up. And like I said, poverty does two things. Poverty can make you helpless or hopeless. And poverty can also do the second thing, which is basically to give you the determination to say, I don't want to grow up in this kind of a situation. I want to make a change in my life and in the life of people living around me. And so growing up here, lack of education. I could not afford education. I was chased in and out of I was always in and out of school because of school fees. And that's the story of many kids or many young people growing up here. They cannot be able to afford school fees. They cannot be able to afford healthcare. And so that is how I grew up. I went to Babadogo Primary School. It's just a stone throw away from Korogosho for my primary education. Then from Babadogo, I was called to go to a national school, but my parents could not afford the fees, so I ended up at the provincial boarding school, which was boys' boarding school, which was Dagoretti High School. And after Dagoretti High School, I was called to do my undergraduate degree at University of Nairobi, where I did Bachelor of Commerce. Came back to Korogosho to try and make my contribution and make a change in the community, and we founded a number of projects that I will be talking about later. And later on I got a scholarship to go and study for my master's in the United States, and I went to Duke University, where I did my master's in public policy. And so for me, most important thing, because this is a very unforgiving environment, growing up, we've seen many young people end up in crime, not because they want, but because they do not have an alternative, because they're trying to make ends meet. So we end up with many young people losing their lives, being shot, or there are so many cases of extrajudicial killings. There are so many young people who never live to get to their 15th birthday. And so what we are trying to do is to help promote access to education. Korogosho is home to like 200,000 people. And growing up in Korogosho, which is the third largest slums in Nairobi, many people always wanted to grow, and whenever they got an opportunity, they would want to get out. But as young people, we thought, what can we do to make this place a place we can call home, so that we are proud to be in Korogosho, and we make it a safe, secure neighborhood. And that's why we came up together with other young people and established Miss Korogosho, which was a community initiative that mobilized young people to champion the rights of the girl child, but most importantly also to bring hope to our community. And Miss Coach largely supports young girls to acquire secondary education and college education. Another project that we founded a couple of years ago was Coach FM community radio, and the idea of Coach FM was to try and find ways of providing information that was empowering or that could help community members to engage in development, in decision-making issues, so that they could make progress. And this was the first community radio founded, actually first community ghetto radio founded in Kenya. Before Coach FM, there was no community radio. We didn't have provisions for community radio. And Coach FM largely plays, runs programs that are meant to empower the community, whether we are talking about women's rights, whether we are talking about the rights of young people, whether we are talking about children's rights. And, it also helps the community to tell its own story, or to shape its own narrative, because the narrative about the ghetto or narrative about the slum is always about poverty and poverty-related problems. It's about suffering, it's about pain. But with initiatives like Coach FM, the idea is to try and say, look, yes, there's poverty, yes, there are poverty-related problems, but there's also a lot of positive things happening, whether we are talking about talent, whether we are talking about young people with skills, whether we are talking about community working together towards addressing some of their challenges. And Coach FM has emerged to be one of the renowned community radios, not just in the country, but across the region and even world over. And you see, it's more or less a studio established within a container. So they got a container, we got a container as young people, refurbished the container, and we thought, this is the place where we want to start telling a different story about Korogosho. And we were always proud and impressed that many years later, many more people are coming down to Korogosho to see positive initiatives by young people. We've seen other community radios emerging just as a result of, benchmarking with Coach FM. We've seen USIU, Kenyatta University, we saw Pamoja Radio in Kibra, and many others are saying, if Coach did it, we can do it. This is like the main center where they're generating information, but also releasing a lot of positive information to the rest of the community. And this has enabled the community to be able to engage, in whether you're talking about development, whether you're talking about decision making, people come here to report about opportunities that they have for young people. People come here to talk about projects that they're doing with women or with children. So I can say without a fear of contradiction that Coach FM has emerged to be a source of hope for our community, and I think it's amazing work that they're doing. But I've also seen them providing opportunities now for other young people who are doing media and communication. They're coming here to either do attachments or to do internship, So it's an amazing project, and people have emerged from here to even join now other media houses, some which are already in the mainstream, So it's an amazing project, and as a community we are extremely proud of this kind of an initiative.
Mimi naitwa
Sinji.
Janjaruka ni show ya kujanjarusha wase zona from the word Janjaruka.
Lazima kuwe mjanja.
Lazima kuwe mjanja. So tunadili na mambo ya health, beauty, alafu na mambo ya entrepreneurship.
Okay. Amazing. Na response inakuaje kwa community? Watu wana call in.
Response iko fit ni kwa wase mazi.
Okay. So time kama hizi wana call, wanakwambia.
Engage na kitu niko kwa mtandao hapa, zingine hata inabidi
uziandike.
Tuziko kibao.
Okay. So issues ni kama gani unadeal nazo sana?
Na deal issues for example kama leo tarehe 15 mwezi wa 10 ni World Hand Wash Day. Unaelewa?
So you're telling the community about hand wash,
Yes, jinsi ya kunawa mikono, kuna formula na protocol ya kuoga mikono.
Yaani hata kuna formula.
Yes, kuna formula because wasao wamezoea kudip tu mikono.
Okay.
Alafu kuna baadhi ya wale wasikilizaji wanafanya kitu inaitwa kudip tu mikono.
Fantastic.
So wanatumia sanitizer badala ya sabuni.
Okay.
Na kuna ile mentality germs are not aware.
Good job bana. Good job, na mazee mnafanya job poa, at least to let our community know and to make them aware of how they can make progress. And so endelea kujanjarusha wasee.
Moto sana.
Poa buda. Niko bana, shughuli za kutafuta. Kuna siku nilikuwa hapa, nyinyi ndio mkoa. Mnaendeleaje?
Tunaendelea poa.
Bado mnafanya kazi kwa bidii. Mnafanya nini sasa?
Sasa hivi tunaona tunaongeza pesa.
Au pesa imeingia? Leo ndo tunakutakia tu hapo nyuma. Kiongozi wetu si ndio? Niaje mzito, wapi lunch? Niko around. Na tena mbona huyu jamaa akona utamu. We wanted to make a Korogosho a place we could call home, a place that was secure, a place that was safe, a place that people have had access to services, people could access education, could access healthcare. And we came up with different projects. We started Miss Korogosho to support girls to acquire education, to access secondary education and also college. We co-founded Coach FM, the first community radio in the country. The Youth Congress, which promotes youth leadership and participation. We also have the K-Youth Media that trains young people on how to tell the stories from the community. I also founded an initiative to promote to support needy but brilliant students through Obonyo Foundation, because for me, I think education is one sure ticket from out of poverty, and so I started Obonyo Foundation. So those are some of the projects that I'm involved in, and I'm quite excited and proud that many years later there are many more other initiatives that are coming up, and that young people are now starting to realize the potential that they have, their abilities, their capabilities, and they're starting different projects. You know, we now have the National Skaters Club in Kenya. Actually, most of its team members are coming from Kenya, and it means that young people from Korogosho, I mean, it's not just about poverty, it's not just about the problems that they have, it's not just about suffering, but it's also about the ability that they have, it's about the talents that they have, it's about the skills that they have, it's about the fresh ideas that they have. And so Korogosho is becoming an epitome of development. Welworo TV, smile na TV. For me, actually, one of the things that I'm strongly interested in is providing opportunities, especially for young people. You know, and one of the single most serious problem that we're facing in this country is the issue of unemployment. You know, young people are looking for opportunities to make progress. Young people are looking for opportunities to earn a living. Remember, this is a place where many young people never live to see their 15th birthday. Many young people have been shot. Many young people have lost their lives in the search of their daily bread. And so one of the things that we must do, and one of the things that I think I must do, is to help create opportunities for young people. And so we look at things like entrepreneurship. How can we support young people to be able to to start enterprises, to be able to run different projects that can help them put money in their pocket. There are different young people who come together, and so we support them maybe to buy equipment, whether we are talking about car washes, whether we are talking about young people who are doing agribusiness, whether we are talking about young people who are doing salon, whether we are talking about young people who are doing all manner of projects to be able to earn a living. Because one of the things that many young people will tell you in Korogosho is that we do not want to end up in crime, because we've seen the dangers of engaging in precarious activities like criminal activity, and so many of them want to get out of there. But what is the alternatives? And so one of the things we're trying to do is to help young people have alternatives, and most importantly start economic development projects. And there are plenty of them. In fact, if we walk this way, I will show you a number of projects that we've been able to support, where young people who initially were engaged in very precarious activities and who are engaged in crime are saying, we want to get out of crime, but we want an alternative. Young people who are engaging in drug abuse say, we want to get out of drug abuse and we want to do something really, really, really productive. And so it's about tapping into the creativity of young people. And this is one of the villages in Korogosho. This is called Grogan, Grogan B. And like I said, one of the things that young people are trying to do in this community is to try and make ends meet. And so young people have come up with different projects. Like I showed you some of the projects that we are doing on the other side, and we have plenty of young people who are coming together to say, look, we want to do something. One of them is Grogan B Reformers, and there are a couple of other projects around Korogosho of young people who are trying to do something. And what they're asking for is for people to give them the support that they need, to show them solidarity and to try and work with them. And so as Youth Congress, we identify such groups and either provide capital or support them with equipment or give them whatever help that they need. And like I said, there are plenty of projects by young people, started by young people, run by young people here in Korogosho. It goes to say that young people are saying, look, we refuse to die. We are not just going to sit here. We are going to do something. Normally we ask young people we send out a call for application, then we ask young people to share with us the ideas that they have, their proposals, and you know, and there are always plenty or hundreds of applications that we get. And so from the applications, we are able to shortlist depending on the amount of finances that we have. And then, yeah, sometimes we get hundreds of proposals, but we can only support up to maybe 10. So it depends with a good idea. It depends with if we are able to provide the finances that are needed. It depends with the, you know, capability of the youth group or youth organizations to be able to do whatever they are doing. When you grow up in Korogosho, one of the things you're always asking yourself, will I ever make it out of here? And so people use different ways to be able to get out of poverty, because this is the depth of poverty. And poverty does two things. It can make you helpless and hopeless. But poverty also does the second thing. It can give you the resilience. It can give you the determination to want to say, look, I don't want to be in this kind of situation. And so what I decided is that, look, I want to make my story a full story. My story should be fuller. It can't just be about where and how I was born in Korogosho, but it should also be about how we were able to make it out of Korogosho. And so for me, one of the ways was using education, because education is an important tool. Like Mandela once said, it's the strongest weapon to fight poverty. And so for me, education is a ladder. Education is a platform for me to get out of poverty, and that's why access to education is very, very important. But also our togetherness, you know, as people growing up in Korogosho, like I said, young people have come together to start different projects. And I've always said our togetherness is our social security. And so as young people, we come together and we start different initiatives to make, to make headway. So I can also say that coming together with other young people to be able to initiate different projects has also helped me to be able to get out of poverty. And the third thing is connecting with different people. You know, they say you can't find a solution to a problem until you share it with other people who can support you. And so we've also been able to partner. I've also been able to network and to partner with other people. And lastly is to make sure you utilize each and every opportunity that you get wherever you are. And lastly, I normally have a philosophy called 3Ds. And I normally say that for you to be able to make it, you need 3Ds. You need to look life in form of 3Ds. The first D is about dream. You know, Napoleon says if the mind can conceive it, you can achieve it. And so we must all dream big, wherever you're born. And if you're born in Korogosho, I think you need to dream. And so having a dream is very, very important. That is something that has helped me. The second D is determination. Being determined and making sure that you work every day to get out of poverty. And the third D for me is discipline. That without discipline, then you cannot achieve anything. So those 3 Ds have helped me to make headway in life. I mean, the challenge running our projects is largely the issue of course, the needs are overwhelming. You know, many young people want opportunities. Many young people want to make, to make a living, but we are only able to support, like we get so many proposals, so many applications for support, but we are only able to support a few organizations because of the little finances that we have. So, finances whatever resources we have in terms of finances do not match the need. 2 is trying to help young people to see long-term, as we also address their short-term issues, because you find that young people start projects, but sometimes they're not able to sustain those projects because they also have daily needs. So how do you make sure that we help them to, yes, address their daily needs, but also see long-term, you know, see the future, you know, work towards the future, not just to address their needs needs for, for the moment. So for me, that is also a big challenge. The other challenge is we are operating in a very difficult environment. Coach is a very difficult environment. So how do we make sure that we help young people to remain focused, whether we are supporting them in education through Obonyo Foundation, or whether we are supporting them to do entrepreneurship projects through the Youth Congress. How do we help them to remain focused in an environment like this, where there is issues of drug abuse, where there is poverty, where there is insecurity, where there is lack of safety? How do we help young people to remain focused? The other thing is about government, because we are always calling on the government to partner with young people, because government normally see young people as a problem or people with a problem. So how can we help the government to start seeing young people as an asset, as a resource? It's extremely important to see young people as a resource. It's important to see young people as an asset. It's important to see young people in terms of the talent. It's important to see young people in terms of the energies. It is important to see young people in terms of dynamism. It is important to see young people in terms of their capabilities. It is important to see young people in terms of what they are able to do, and not just to see young people as a problem to be fixed or a problem to be addressed. And lastly is that because this is Korogosho, many people are not able to access Korogosho, and most importantly, to meet young people who are marginalized completely. Because when you talk about young people who need support, it is not young people who can come to the city center. It is not young people who can speak good English. It is not young people who can write good proposals. How do we reach young people who are at the margins? How do we see young people who are at the edge? For me, that is extremely important, that we must reach the excluded. We must reach young people who are largely at the margins, because for me, that is when we can start talking about real empowerment. It's not just supporting young people like myself. It's about supporting young people who truly need the kind of support that we are trying to tap from whichever sources. I don't consider myself an achiever, but I think I'm work in progress. There are things that I've been able to do, and for example, I think founding Miss Korogosho was a game changer for me here in Korogosho, because growing up, people always saw Korogosho in terms of poverty, in terms of poverty-related problems, in terms of bad things that were happening. Whenever Korogosho appeared in the media, it was always about, terrible things. Either there was a crime, or it's about poverty, it's about insecurity, it's about lack of basic services. But with Miss Coach, you're able to show that there is also something good that is coming out of Korogosho. So I consider that one of my greatest achievements. But there have been other things that I've been able to do and to achieve. I was named one of the UN Persons of the Year in 2016, and that for me was a great achievement to get that kind of recognition. This year I was named amongst the 100 most influential young people in Africa, alongside people like Mo Salah who plays for Liverpool and plays for the Egypt national team, and a couple of other people. And so for me, that goes to show that there's something good that is coming out of Korogosho. I've founded different initiatives that for me I also consider to be a great initiatives that are trying, a great achievement, initiatives that are trying to make a difference in the lives of young people. So what makes me happy, what makes me proud, is whenever I see young people making progress in their lives, is to make a difference in the life of young people. And so that for me, they might not be huge achievements, but I see them as great achievement, just to see that a young person who was going to end up in crime has been able to find a way to make to earn a living. I also support kids, needy but brilliant kids who are not able to get to school. So I mobilize my friends to support them through the Obonyo Foundation, and we've supported about 100 kids who ordinarily would never see walls of a classroom. But because for me education made a difference in my life, I have a responsibility to come back to Korogosho and to support other young people who might want to access or acquire education, but because of the disadvantage of poverty, or because of their poor background, they're not able to do that. I consider that to be an achievement.
today the book we are discussing is The Secret Lives of Baba Segi's Wives.
The book is hilarious.
Totally.
I was laughing throughout, and I was laughing because the book felt like a Nigerian movie.
I also felt like I knew them too much. Now I don't even want to know them again.